Summer's here at last, so it's time to take a look at the Otome release calendar. In the time since my last look at upcoming games, previously announced titles now have firm release dates, and while it's been a relatively quiet year for new licenses, there's been a respectable number of new additions to the roster, plus some exciting news on the PC front, with several beloved Switch exclusives finally getting Steam ports. First up, Sins of Kaleido is coming to Switch as a digital-only title on July 16th. This is the final game in the trio of titles Amulet announced back in 2023, and surprise, this is set in the same universe as their breakout hit, Even If Tempest, a fact they've kept under wraps until they started doing promo for the title earlier this year. But now that we know it's the second entry in what they're calling the Witch Chronicles series, fan expectations for Sins of Kaleido are higher than ever. Based on a recent teaser trailer, it looks like they'll be pushing the investigative elements of the first game even further this time, with point-and-click segments that are integral to gathering evidence needed to soothe the love interest's inner darkness and ferret out the witches hiding inside cursed paintings. Hopefully it will be challenging our brains as much as it will be rending our hearts when it releases next week. July 29th marks the release date of Konami's two Prince of Tennis Otome games, Sweet School Festival and Doki Doki Survival. Prince of Tennis girlies will finally have the chance to romance their favorite tennis players while stranded on a desert island in Doki Doki Survival, or the big annual Culture Fest in Sweet School Festival. Keep in mind that these are remasters of games that are about 20 years old, so they will reflect a much older sensibility in terms of their artwork and plot structure. Both games are releasing as digital-only titles in North America on Steam and Nintendo Switch. However, if you really want the physical version for Switch, you can import them, but you have to be very careful that you're getting the multilingual Asian version. The copies for the Japanese market will not come with English on the cartridge, and if you accidentally order these, you'll have to add the English text through a paid DLC add-on per the FAQ on Konami's website. Next up is arguably the most hotly anticipated title of the year in the Otome fan community. Requiem Z is coming to Nintendo Switch on August 20th. This title immediately caught everyone's attention because the cast of romanceable heartthrobs is made up entirely of unstable red flag men you can either save through the power of love or push to become their worst selves. Depending on your choices, you can either win a wholesome happily ever after or go a much darker and more dangerous route as the love interests embrace their darkest impulses. Requiem Z had enormous positive word of mouth from the bilingual side of the community when it was released in Japan last year, and we're very close to experiencing its dark, edgy goodness. Moving on to the newly announced licenses, Idea Factory International has picked up 9 RIP sequel for the Nintendo Switch. Yes, that is the official title. As the sequel to 2024's horror-themed Otome game, it continues the saga of Misa and her ghostly boyfriends from where the first game left off. Right now, there is no official release date beyond a fall 2026 timeframe, but I feel confident that given the game's spooky trappings, it will release in October to coincide with Halloween, just like the first game. The Idea Factory International website currently has a placeholder listing for a full-on limited edition, the first one they've done in about 2 years. Amulet announced that they have a new project in development called Record Noah, the Fractal of Oblivion. This is a science fiction romance set in a utopian city in the middle of the sea, and there are androids and people who can channel emotions into energy. The one promo we have of it doesn't really give a lot of clues as to the plotline, but I imagine we will start to get more information about this game after Sins of Kaleido comes out. The announcement video gave an unspecified 2026 release date, but I would honestly not be shocked if it ends up being pushed back into early 2027. Since it's an Amulet title, it will be a digital-only Switch exclusive, at least for a while, but we'll get to that later. Dramatic Creates recently announced their next multilingual port of an older Otome game. This time, they're bringing over Tokyo Meiji Renka Twilight Kiss, the fan disc for the time travel romance Tokyo Meiji Renka Full Moon. This fan disc is coming to both Switch and PC on October 29th. Like all Dramatic Creates titles, it will be digital only in the Western territories, but you can import a Switch copy from Japan since the English text will be included on the cartridge. And that is everything currently scheduled for this calendar year. Here are the titles that are currently scheduled for 2027. While it's early yet, it looks like the year is going to be dominated by fan discs. First up, East Asia Soft is delving into the Hakuoki franchise for a third time to bring us Hakuoki Memoirs Drifting Clouds. This is one of a series of Switch-exclusive fan discs made to complement Hakuoki Chronicle of Wind and Blossom. Always good to see more Hakuoki considering how long the franchise sat dormant in the West. Hakuoki Memoirs is currently scheduled for first quarter 2027. As is tradition with East Asia Soft's Hakuoki releases, they have a very nice looking limited edition up for pre-order at PlayAsia and Video Games Plus for all the collectors out there. Axis Games announced the fan discs/sequels for two of their popular titles at Anime Expo. Olympia Soiree Catharsis and Illusion of Itehari Trail are both coming spring 2027. The original Olympia Soiree is one of the most popular Otome games of the Switch generation, and Illusion of Itehari's sales numbers managed to beat Princess Peach Showtime, a first-party Nintendo title, on the Famitsu charts the week it released in Japan. So it's really no surprise these games were picked up so fast for localization. Moving on to the PC titles, we're going to start with two games from my 8 best Otome games list that are finally making the jump to PC, which will open up these fantastic games to a whole new player base. Cupid Parasite is coming to Steam on September 22nd. I don't think this beloved romantic comedy needs much of an introduction, but I'll give it one anyway. In Cupid Parasite, Lynette Mirror, a professional matchmaker and the goddess Cupid in disguise, has to find romantic partners for her firm's most difficult clients, a group of walking disasters known as the Parasite 5, with its striking artwork and zany comedy, plus one route that will reduce you to tears. This is one of my favorite Otome games, so I'm glad to see it become a little more accessible. Even if Tempest is also coming to Steam, but there's no given release window as of yet. This dark fantasy pits Anastasia, a girl who gains the power to reverse time upon death, against the Witch of Ruin, a malevolent entity who she must best in a series of high-stakes Danganronpa-style murder trials. And given the nature of this game, she will die many times as she pursues the Witch of Ruin across multiple timelines, finding connection with a different man in each time loop. At last, PC gamers can experience this unique Otome game that combines whodunit mystery with tragic romance as Anastasia searches for an escape from her heartbreaking fate. Next up, we have a few PC exclusive titles that you may quibble are Otome games, but they're at least Otome adjacent enough to warrant inclusion. First up is Obey Me Sinner's Choice Lucifer, a romance visual novel based on NTT Solimare's mobile gacha game Cash Cow. I normally don't touch gacha stuff because it's meant to drain your wallet, but I can get behind a spin-off that takes the gacha pulls and time-gating elements that make mobile games such a money suck out of the equation. In Sinner's Choice, the protagonist is sent to hell with the mission to judge the fallen angel Lucifer in 7 days, and she runs the risk of falling for him as she explores his tragic history to determine if he merits salvation or destruction. It looks like the other guys based on the 7 deadly sins from the mobile game are here too, but Lucifer is the only one presented as a romantic option. And I imagine if this game is successful, they will get their own spin-off entries in time. As of right now, it's only coming to Steam, but the press release teased that they might also add a Switch port. It's expected to release in fall of 2026. Our last title of the video is called Algorithm Prescription from Shochiku Games. This romance-focused visual novel is not marketed specifically as an Otome game, but its key visual and character sprites definitely wouldn't be out of place in an Otome game, so we'll just say it's close enough to count. The premise is a romance-themed version of Psycho-Pass. The story takes place in a fully AI-controlled futuristic city. Humans are judged by their empathy scores, a numerical value based on how emotionally stable they are that determines the quality of their lives. Kokoro is a medical intern working at the city's largest hospital, and the plot involves her uncovering a dark secret about the so-called perfect AI system. While digging into these mysteries, Kokoro can fall for one of 3 handsome suitors: Tachibana, her helpful neighbor, Shu, a talented doctor working with her at the hospital, and Akuto, a shameless playboy. There is a demo available so you can play through the first hour or so before the full release comes out later this year. And that's all the upcoming Otome titles as of July 2026. All in all, the year is shaping up to be respectable for the genre with plenty of stuff to look forward to. While 2027 is looking pretty lean at the moment, there's still a lot of time for more announcements, though I do wish we had at least one game scheduled for next year that wasn't a fan disc. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I cover all sorts of fun stuff related to Otome, romance, and girly pop gaming here on Otome Beat. Drop me a comment telling me which upcoming game you are looking forward to the most, or which game you're still holding out hope for a licensing announcement before the end of the year. I personally think P-Cube will announce Sidekicks Beyond at some point, and Idea Factory International will announce at least one title for 2027 before the year's over. Well, that's all for now. This has been Otome Beat. Thanks for watching.